So can you tell us what happened last night here in front of the police station?
Yeah, so we were using this crosswalk in front of the police station, between the police station and the jail here as the site for our protest, and the police were blocking traffic. And at one point the police all left, and so we were still there blocking traffic, and there was a large kind of burgundy SUV with Idaho license plates who was kind of behaving really aggressively, like he was going to try and drive through the crosswalk regardless of the people walking there, and honking his horn. And so I went and stood in front of him to kind of, you know, like, look, you're not going to get through, and hopefully to discourage him from continuing to kind of be aggressive and unsafe. And so at one point he backed his vehicle up and then gunned it toward me like he was going to run me over. And so a bunch of people moved toward the vehicle. And so at that point the vehicle did actually start backing off, and then a bunch of police came out of the police station behind us here, and 5 of them circled me and grabbed me by the arms and told me I was under arrest, and I asked them what for, and they wouldn't say anything, so I asked them repeatedly what for, while 5 of them dragged me into the door of the jail. Obviously with 1,000 pounds of Vancouver's finest around me, I wasn't, in any place to be resisting, so I was just going with them inside the jail. They caught my foot on the door of the jail, and so I kind of fell going in. And so because of that, they started yelling at me to stop resisting arrest, and I was on the ground, and I told them I wasn't resisting arrest, and they flipped me over and continued to tell me to stop resisting arrest, and I continued to tell them I wasn't, and to ask them what I was being charged with. And at one point, when I told them I wasn't resisting arrest, they yelled at me, "Well, then stop talking!" And, I was taking shots from knees, and one of them was using his leg as a lever to yank my arm back, even though he was sitting where it
So these were all men?
So these were all five male Vancouver Police Department officers. That's what it takes to arrest a 140-pound school teacher here in Vancouver, apparently. And they had me on the ground for a good couple of minutes, and one of them was sitting so that I couldn't put my arm behind my back, but using his leg as kind of a lever so he could yank my arm against it until he moved to actually put my arms in cuffs. And I've got some swollen knees and concrete burns and things like that.
That's your arm here?
Yeah, my wrist is really sore and swollen. Matthew, our Occupy medic, wrapped it up for me and has been taking care of me. I've got some little bit of concrete burn on my shoulder. That knee's swelling up pretty good today. That's where they caught my foot in the door there. And so then the officers, I think the ones who'd handcuffed me, went to kind of start patting me down and searching me, and I said, don't I have the right to be searched by a female officer? So after they'd grabbed my ass a little bit, they backed off, and a female cop came over.
So you were sexually assaulted during the arrest, do you feel?
Yeah, I do. Well, I don't know. I've never been searched and patted down before, so maybe it's normal to grab someone's ass when you're patting them down, but I really was uncomfortable with it being done by male officers.
And do you make resistant statements at all regarding when they're touching you, or?
I asked them to stop. I told them I wanted a female officer if I was going to be searched, and at that point they did stop quite quickly because there was a female officer within earshot who started walking over, and at that point also other people had been arrested and were inside the bay, so there was kind of more visibility than when they first dragged me in the doors and I was in there by myself. They claimed that I was going to be charged with property damage vandalism for spitting on the red SUV that was trying to run me down. I totally hadn't spat on it. And so in the end, they told me the charges were being dropped because they couldn't find the driver of that vehicle, so they couldn't find the victim. He's the victim. The guy who was going to run me down was the victim, apparently, but they couldn't find him, so they were going to drop that charge. So what they gave me was a ticket for loitering. So I think the moral of the story is that here in Vancouver right now, if you're loitering for political purposes, you can be beaten up by 5 members of the police department.